Hello people who cannot sit at home, thank you for being here. This video, in my opinion, for sure is an epic video where I'm gonna show you 4 of the coolest winter road trips around Ontario. So the first epic road trip, we're gonna head all the way to North Bay. For the second road trip, we're going around Lake Simcoe. For the third road trip, we're heading all the way to Quebec and we're heading through Ottawa. And in the last road trip, we're heading to Hamilton, checking out their gorgeous waterfalls. If you're going to be doing any of these trips, it is definitely your choice if you would like to be there for just 1 night, 2 nights or more. Most of these trips, we stayed about at least 1 night or 2 nights. And before you go, I just found out that only 4% of my subscribers actually watch my videos, which basically means that the 93% of people who are watching me are not even subscribed. I'm pretty sure that's some kind of record because I've never heard that from any other blogger. So if you could please subscribe to this channel, it would mean a lot to me. And I'm already working on some really cool videos coming up very shortly. I am sure they will also be interesting to you. So without further chit chat, let's go. So the first absolutely epic trip is the trip that we just recently did, I would say about a month ago. This is heading towards North Bay, so I would say about 4 hours north of Toronto. You can have this trip be 1 night. We did 2 nights because we thought that that would be the most relaxing. And you can of course do 3 nights or more if you would like to. The first stop is the heart of Muskoka Fries. This was a little bit off the highway, so you need to get out, but then it's not that far. And all around it there were different vintage elements, which right away really intrigued me. But really I was here because the ratings of this place were really good, hence why I decided to try it out. They even had a totem pole over there with hot dog, burgers, and breakfast, and the fries on top. Here we are inside. There was nobody inside. I think this was about lunchtime. Here's the menu. Mainly this is burger and fries kind of place. And inside, the interior is very cool. It's very rustic. As I mentioned, vintagey. There's definitely a lot of visual stimulation. Here is our food. We both got burgers and fries. And let me tell you, so everything was amazing. Here's the sampling of the fry. And they were great, but the burger, oh my gosh, the burger was so great. Very fresh, very juicy. I highly recommend it. I'm actually not a burger person, but this was amazing. Even the bathroom had all of these cool posters and funny things. So really cool and very unique. Definitely a place to check out when you're heading up north. So the next place, this is essentially a garden center. This is called Sand Hill Nursery. This is around Huntsville area. We were there because it was Christmas time, so everything is decorated for Christmas, but I've seen these guys do amazing work. I follow them on social media, so I've seen things that they do in the summertime, and they do an amazing job in the fall time with all of the pumpkins. Definitely very creative, and this is a fairly large store. And also they had a lot of humorous elements. When you go outside, you will notice that there's another shed. I don't know if this was just for the Christmas time or they always have it, but it's sort of like a second area. All of the outside area, I think in the summer, they use that for, of course, the flowers. So right now it's closed because it's winter time. I'm sure in every season, these guys are a joy to check out. So we're continuously heading north, and this stop is called Crystal Cave. This one was about, I would say, 3 hours after Toronto. And oh my gosh, I have never been in a place that's this magical. So as you walk in, you kind of see a lot of elements already, but fully walk in, you realize that you're sort of in a garden. So of course this is a crystal store, so they do sell all of the crystals that they have that I'm showing you over here. But it also seems like it's like everything is decorated, and it's almost like everything is a sculpture and installation. and the way it's presented with all of the moss and, you know, different jewels and beading, it's just so gorgeous. Then they also had this area you can walk in. I think this is sort of for like meditation. It's fairly small, but just the fact that there is like a meditation area in the store, that was amazing. And over here, this is the ferry area, and a lot of little ferries, a lot of things you can of course buy or just enjoy. Like, oh my gosh, this is like a whole setup of the world. Fairy world? I'm not sure, but it's beautiful. Now this was even more unique. So to release your anxiety or any fears, what you're supposed to do over here is take a paper, write your anxiety, and then you can put it inside that bucket that is metal. It's very safe. And you just, you know, burn your worries away. I think this is so wonderful. And over here is another room, also full of crystals and beautiful installations. The space is fairly large. You can, I think we spent here about an hour, probably more, just looking through everything. They even have fossils for a really good price. Not only that, they also have sort of like a museum area for $5 for the admission fee, and there's even more of different gems and things like that that you can walk around. In the summertime, they have the fairy forest. I've also seen it online. It's definitely beautiful, but right now it's closed because of the winter. So over here, we're finally at our location. This is Otter Pointe Resort, which is an amazing resort that you need to check out. We actually had the whole resort to ourselves, which was absolutely amazing. They have 2 domes, the ones that I'm in right now. This is one of them. And then they have a rustic cabin, and the cabin is pretty much right on the lake. It is beautiful. Just going through the cabin and showing you everything. The owners just did a full renovation and it's beautiful. It sleeps overall 4 people. First there's the couch, and then there's actual bedroom. There's a full kitchen, there's a fridge. Insane amount of coffee, teas, microwave. Honestly, this place, by the way, both of the places, the domes and this rustic cabin, they both had everything you can possibly need when glamping. Such a fun time. What we also really liked is that because the 2 of us stayed in this cabin, but my brother and his fiance stayed in the dome, we would like go to each other and chill with each other, like play board games and cook breakfast for each other, but we stayed separately. I think that's one of the best things about this property, is that you can kind of rent 2 different things, 2 different places to stay, and you can just, you know, go and visit each other. Here's in the morning. This is at the resort. Absolutely gorgeous. They are surrounded by water. I wanted to tell you about my new Weekend Getaways road trip journal. This just recently came out on Amazon. It's one of my books. It's all about weekend getaways, and I'm gonna link all of the information down below. And I also have, of course, my regular Ontario road trip journal, which is the spring and summer for daytime tripping, and my fall winter if you would like to go on a day trip in fall or winter. It was so beautiful. The water was already kind of frozen over there, but it was still really gorgeous to see. And I did a full video of my full walkthrough of this resort. I'm gonna link it down below. Make sure to check it out. Oh, and they also have the coolest chickens that you, if you want to, you can hold, and the best animals. They are adorable. They have 2 dogs and a cat. Ridiculously adorable. They will come up to you if you would like them to. This experience was such a joy. So while being at the Otter Pointe Resort, the town of Ottawa was about 15 minutes away. So we headed over there to kind of check it out. So we checked out their marina, then we went to Crescent Creations, which is another crystal store. I'm definitely sensing a theme in these kind of northern areas, from Toronto areas, that they love their crystals, and the lady was so lovely. We also had some snacks, the chicken. We had chicken and we had the pizza. And they even provided the sauce with the chicken. It was so good. You have to try the sauce. Now over here we stumbled upon Maxwell Pottery, which was kind of on the way back to the Otter Pointe Resort. And it's beautiful. The lady actually was so kind. She allowed us to see the workshop and did a little bit of a tour and how everything's produced, answered our questions. And they are known for these boats that you can put olives or whatever you would like to. And we got cups, and I'm using it still, and it's such a nice reminder of this trip. There were so many things that we did at the resort, one of them being, of course, the fire and cooking the potatoes and steaks and sausages over here. I am gonna link down below. I actually did a whole video of about 8 things we did over there. It was so hilarious. We definitely had a lot of fun. Over here I'm going now, this is not winter time, this is from the summertime, but I've only been here in the summertime, though I am sure you can also access this in the winter time, but do check online just to make sure. So what this is the Screaming Heads. Essentially, it's a property that is usually open to the public for absolutely free. You can do a donation if you would like to, and near the parking actually is this specific area. It's just an insane amount of these Screaming Heads. I don't know, there's about 20 or 30 of them. The owner is a really cool gentleman. He's previously an art teacher, and this is kind of his passion project. And this is already on the way back, heading from the Otter Pointe Resort. So that was the first epic trip, and I enjoyed this trip so very much. Now on to the second epic winter trip. This trip is all about literally going around all of Lake Simcoe. So the first stop of this trip is the Ken Reid Conservation Area, which is located about an hour and a half northeast of Toronto. So over here, this is where we parked, the P sign, and the gray thing, that's the boardwalk that we're gonna head to. But before we, basically as soon as we parked, it's $4 for a day, in the winter time at least. We checked out this beautiful view. It's right there by the parking. The way you pay for the parking is through an app. So you have to download an app and just get your information, and it was actually pretty easy. So now we're heading for the boardwalk because I have heard that you can feed chickadees over here. And first of all, the boardwalk is really pretty, and then you see people feeding the chickadees. Here's me trying to film and at the same time feed them, which was kind of hard, but here they are. They pretty much come up to you right away. Sometimes they take a longer time. We only had a little bit of the bird feed, but we did have peanuts, and we were surprised that they actually really loved the peanuts. In fact, they would eat them more than the bird feed we brought. And here's the view of the park. It's actually a really pretty park. Really, I definitely do suggest hiking more in this conservation area. And the next stop is Fenelon Falls. Gorgeous waterfalls any time of the year. I definitely have been here in the summer and it's beautiful, and it was cool to check it out. You can't really go downstairs all the way because it's pretty icy. I mean, you could, but it's dangerous. And the lock is frozen over here, which I thought was pretty beautiful to see in the winter. So definitely recommend. Up next we have the Saucy Willow Inn and Cottages. This is a beautiful place. I found them on Airbnb, but you can also book them through their website. We were amazed at how beautiful this place is and how loved and cared for. So here's our room and the view of it. The chandelier was gorgeous. The owners, Stephanie and David, were amazing. They did such an amazing job. This place I think is about 150 years old. They renovated all of the bathrooms. Here's the beautiful bathroom. Here's the downstairs and kind of the lounge and gaming area, and here's the area where you eat. In the morning they would get us breakfast, and here's again the porch. You get to chill out and snuggle in something cozy. Over there is a skating rink they even had, which was amazing. Here's the other side of the inn. It's definitely very beautiful looking, and you get to go all the way to the lake. So another thing that is amazing about this place is that they have tons of swans. So in the morning we checked out from the Saucy Inn and we drove towards Aurelia, where we went for breakfast at the Tailwinds Bar and Grill. So the interesting thing about this place is it's airplane themed, and it's actually at the airport, and if you're lucky you can even see the planes take off. Unfortunately, because it was a really cloudy, windy, unpleasant day, there was nothing, but you could see one airplane just kind of stationary over there. We ordered coffee and apple juice. This is where the planes would be, I think, coming up to and landing. And here's the actual breakfast. Very nice, very simple. That's exactly what I wanted. They have lots of other options. So over here, us getting to the port of Aurelia. So over there's a lot of people fishing. There's snowmobiles. This was fairly deep in the winter. I think this was February, so of course there's lots of action on the frozen lake. So definitely visit the port of Aurelia. And the next place you need to check out in Aurelia is the Mariposa Market. It is really an amazing historic bakery market that has such a wide variety of pretty much everything. They, of course, have a lot of baked goods. They have different preserves. They have some mean mac and cheese. It was really amazing, so make sure to sample that. There was also some kind of meat pie and a couple of cakes. And by the way, at this point we are going around Lake Simcoe at the top, and now we're starting to head west. So we're making our way to pretty much Wasaga Beach. This is near Wasaga Beach. Parking is free, which is awesome, and you just do a little hike upwards, very short hike, and you get to see this view. So it's a beautiful river bend, kind of like a horseshoe. Definitely gorgeous to check out any time of the year. If you have seen my videos, you have seen this in the summertime. It was windy, but it was so beautiful that we did a bit of a hike. There is snow, so all of this is sand. I should warn you, and I would not come close to the slopes because it is easy to. Over there, I think people did, which I guess you could, especially maybe an animal like a dog could for sure. But it is pretty slippery. When I was walking on the snow that's on top of the sand, it was totally fine. It was not slippery at all, but you know, something to watch out for. So at the Wasaga Beach, we have stayed at this cabin. It is a fairly simple cabin, but it is nice and functional. It had full kitchen, 2 rooms, and had a nice TV. And probably the highlight was that it was very close to Wasaga Beach, which was, I would say, about 5-minute walk, and you're at the beach. I thought that in the winter it would be still beautiful Wasaga Beach, just like I remember it in the summer. But when we got there, it's like expectation versus reality. We got faced with these frozen waves. And you can't even actually see much of the water because all you see are these waves. There was a lady in the vicinity walking a dog, so we asked her if it's safe to go onto those waves, if they're frozen enough, and she said that that's very dangerous, so do not do that, because you can fall through. This was the next morning. We went to check out kind of like the Collingwood side of Georgian Bay. There was a gentleman doing surfing. Even just being outside, it felt like, I think with wind chill it was like -5 at least. Not a very pleasant weather, and but he enjoyed it clearly, so that was very cool to see. Next, we headed to the Living Shore Spa where we tried Aquapath. Aquapath is a really cool experience. It was about $75 and it takes you through about 8 different water stations and 1 steam room. And the whole experience takes about roughly 45 minutes, but with the changing, it will take you about an hour, maybe a bit more. Amazing, amazing, amazing. If you can do it, please go. I've been to tons of spas and this was a cool experience. Especially if you love water and especially if you're missing water, like right now it's in the middle of February, to relax in jacuzzis and there's different sprinklers and things like that. And if you're hungry, there is a restaurant right next to the spa. So here's the epic trip number 3, which is the Ottawa and Quebec trip. Here's the overview of the map of what we're gonna do. This is definitely an overnight trip, at least 1 or even possibly 2 nights, depending on how much of the things you want to do. So the first stop is Diefenbunker. This is a Canada's Cold War museum. This is the most fascinating place that I didn't even know existed. Make sure to pre-book the tickets and check out their open times. Definitely allocate at least 1 to 2 hours for this. For this trip, you really need to leave early so that you do all of the things that you want to do. But oh my gosh, this place is fascinating. If you're into history or, of course, the history of the Cold War, you need to check this place out. I did a whole video about our tour and I'm going to link it down in the description below. Another place on this trip that you need to check out is the Carlton place. This is sort of on the way to Diefenbunker. It's kind of in the same area. It's just a beautiful little town. They have the waterfront gastropub and that seems to be the place to go. We didn't have the time. We only went to the Maverick Donuts and they were amazing. I got the Oreo Nirvana. We got the 2 fritters and a Boston cream. Everything was excellent. Oreo Nirvana was amazing. My favorite was probably still blueberry fritter, though Oreo Nirvana was amazing too. So get any of them. I'm sure these guys I'm sure all of the donuts in that place are great. So at this point, we are already in Ottawa, and if you have never done Rideau Canal skating, you need to do it. Even if you have done it, you still need to do it. It is definitely so much fun, and it's like the most quintessential Canadian thing to do. The only thing to watch out for is make sure that the ice is frozen and the canal is open before going onto this trip. You can easily do it online. And another tip about doing this canal is that we parked about 4 kilometers away from the 0 point. Over here is the 0 point. And then we kind of just skated all the way to the 0 point, which is like downtown Ottawa and back. That was the best way we thought was to experience the whole of the canal. And after the skating, trust me, you will want to eat. We went to San Sauté Ramen and it definitely hit the spot. Another place that you need to check out while in Ottawa is the Jack Pine Trail. And the special thing about this place is that you can feed the birds in here as well. When we were there, it was free to park, free to enter, and there were so many birds, so many chickadees. We bought the feed, I think, from No Frills at the same time that we were getting the carrots, and you will see why we need the carrots very shortly. So yeah, definitely check this place out. This is just a beautiful interaction with nature. So for the hotel in Ottawa, I think we just stayed at Marriott, but there are so many hotels and there are so many Airbnbs, of course. And this is already in Quebec over here. This is Menor Papineau. Sorry, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it well, but it's a gorgeous area. When we were there, the inside was closed, but the outside, the property, you were allowed to kind of walk around, and it's just so beautiful, and it's right on the edge of the Ottawa River. But the main reason why we wanted to go to Quebec was the Parc Omega, which is definitely one of the most unique winter experiences you can have. It is about an hour away from Ottawa. So before going to the park, you need to make sure to book your tickets in advance. And when you drive into the park, you can tune your radio station to their radio station, and they also give you a really handy map that you can follow. And right off the bat, you can see all of the cool animals just kind of all over the cars asking to be fed. Now, we got a lot of carrots, and while reading the reviews said to get about 10 bags. I found that the animals were pretty well fed, so definitely don't need 10 bags, get about 5. But also this was Saturday afternoon and maybe they were already not hungry, so that could be the reason. Definitely the animals in the beginning of the trail are less, they don't approach to you as much as the animals later on, so definitely save some of the carrots for later on. So overall, the suggestion is for your safety, really do not open the window fully, have it a little bit at least halfway closed so that the animal's head cannot fully go inside. Usually they do not go inside and they are really friendly. So some of the animals are more gated. They still have a large chunk of the area, but they are closed up, so they can't really come to your car. So over here we have parked, and there's an area for a hike. I believe it's about 10 kilometers. And there's a really cute farm animal kind of section. In the same area where the farm is, you can also just pet and hand feed the deer. They're very friendly. And over here we're back in the car. This is a really cool moose. And at this point the sun was already setting, so we headed to our hotel. And over here in the morning we headed for the Wakefield Covered Bridge, which is one of the first bridges to link the shores of the Gatineau River, and it was built in 1915. Absolutely gorgeous historic bridge to check out. And very close by we headed to our excursion for the day. So this is Escapade Huskimo, and it's 1 hour from Ottawa and 5 hours from Toronto roughly, and I'm gonna link them down below. It is such an amazing experience. If you have the opportunity to do this, dog sledding, you absolutely need to do this. So what we did is a 2.5 hour tour for the two of us. There were other people, but on a different sled. And I think we had about 6 dogs. They were all so much fun. They were so loving. They wanted belly rubs. The whole experience was such an amazing time. But you definitely need to book well in advance. And here's the 4th epic winter road trip. This is Milton and Hamilton. So first we're actually heading to Milton, and we're heading to Rattlesnake Pointe Conservation Area. We're going to do a little bit of a loop and then go to Hamilton and then come back to Toronto. So first thing about Rattlesnake Pointe is that you do need to pre-book to park in there, to get in there. So definitely do that. We actually did not. We just arrived and they let us in, but they told us that it's best to pre-book. We did roughly this trail all the way to the lake, and I did a whole separate video. I'm going to also link it down below for you to check out. So over here we parked at the main parking lot, and pretty much right away you do a little bit like a tiny hike, maybe like 2 minutes, and right away you see this gorgeous view. These rocks are absolutely breathtaking, definitely great place for photos, and this is also on the cliff, so you have a gorgeous view. So we continued hiking, and our hike was actually about 2 hours each way. We mainly wanted to hike to the Lake Crawford, and here we are getting to Lake Crawford. But if you don't want to do 2-hour hike, which is totally understandable, from what I can understand, there is also a parking lot at Lake Crawford. I think you also need to pre-book that, so just do your own research. I'm going to post down below the Rattlesnake Pointe website, so maybe you can figure out in there. So the reason why I loved the Crawford Lake is that all around it there's a boardwalk, and the lake is not that big, so you walk around this boardwalk for maybe like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I highly recommend this hike. So after the hike we went to a Thai place. It is Thai house cuisine right in the downtown of Milton. Great food, highly recommend it. I think I had a pad thai and khao soi. So next we're heading towards Hamilton. So my suggestion to you is actually to check out the Swimply app. What that is essentially Airbnb. It works in exactly the same way, except you rent pools. You just download the app and you will see all of this. And some of the pools they had, especially in the summertime, are gorgeous. Some of them are smaller, some of them are ginormous. I'm gonna link down below my video about this. But of course, this is winter time. For the winter time, they actually have indoor pools, and there's one in Hamilton. And that is my suggestion to you after the hike. Make sure to pre-book, of course, the indoor pool and check it out. I actually have not been in that specific location, but I recently have been to another closed pool by Swimply. This was in King City, and we had so much fun. And one more thing about Swimply. If you would like to get a $50 credit to use for your first swim, make sure to click on the link down below. What's going to happen is you're going to get a $50 credit when you book, and I'm also going to get a $50 credit, which is pretty awesome. I'll be honest, I never actually stayed at Hamilton because it's so close to the city. The trip to Rattlesnake Pointe, and now we're heading to the waterfalls of Hamilton. Both of those trips were done on 2 separate days, which by the way you can also do if you would like to. But you can also, of course, rent an Airbnb or a hotel. I'm not going to suggest because I don't know, but I'm sure there's tons of it if you look online. So over here we arrived at the Dundas Valley Trail, and I'm gonna try my hardest to find this location of this parking lot because it was pretty awesome. It was free from what I remember, and in here you get pointed to the Sherman and Tiffany Falls. So basically you park in one place and then you go wander around. You can definitely drive to Tiffany Falls, which are actually pretty far from over here from the parking spot. I think it was about, I don't know, half an hour hike from the two falls. I'm going to show you later the parking right by the Tiffany Falls, but we decided to hike because it was a really nice day. It actually wasn't even cold. So anyway, first over here is the Sherman Falls. There was nobody here, which was almost surprising, and just watch out for the slopes over here. It was really slippery actually. I had one of those, you know, those spikes that you put on the shoes. So if you have them, make sure to wear them because yes, a lot of stuff, a lot of snow over here. It's all like frozen, unfrozen, so it is icy. The Sherman Falls are gorgeous. So here's the parking lot for the Tiffany Falls. As I mentioned, you can park there. You kind of have to wait for people to come back because there's like 8 spots and people come and go, so you will get your spot, you just probably will have to wait a little bit. Then you go for like a hike of maybe 10 minutes long. There's definitely lots more people here, and at this day they even were climbing the icicles, which was a little scary for me to watch, but clearly these guys are professionals. There's a bit of a kind of podium that you go up and you can see a little better. But yes, I definitely do think that Hamilton waterfalls are the thing to do in the winter in Ontario, and of course if you are near Toronto, they're definitely truly gorgeous. But I do have to say I've been to these falls a number of times, and it's mainly in February, the later winter, when they become really beautiful with all of those icicles accumulating. In the early winter, there's not as much, but it still could be beautiful. And then in Hamilton over here, to be honest, I don't remember the name of the restaurant. I'm going to put it down below. It's another Thai restaurant. We clearly like Thai restaurants when it comes to kind of Hamilton area. Everything was great. I love that little rice holder thing. But in general, Hamilton has so many places, so many restaurants that I am sure you will find something amazing. So I hope you enjoyed all of these road trips. Let me know what you thought about these. If you have any other winter road trip suggestions, please let me know down below. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, like, and share, and I will see you next time. Bye.